Good evening to each of you who have arrived tonight. We thank you for your presence. Grace and peace to you. On behalf of the Connectional Music and Arts Ministry of the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, CMAM, as we are lovingly and colloquially called, welcome to tonight's seminar. We are grateful that you have joined us for this important and transformative conversation. For those of you who don't know what the Connectional Music and Arts Ministry is, let me share with you that CMAM is a relatively young ministry in the life of the CME Church. We're just 11 years old, but we have become a vital part of shaping the worship life of the CME Church. We provide music for the Unity Summit, the General Connectional Board, the CYYAC, and the General Conference. And each Episcopal district has a coordinator who is appointed by their presiding bishop. CMAM is deeply connected to the needs of the local church. Reverend Barbara Holt, will you share with our audience why we are here?
Yes, ma'am. We gather tonight because many of our congregations, large, small, rural, and urban, are worshiping without musicians or with limited musical support. Some churches have no trained musicians nearby. Others have volunteers who need tools and guidance. Some simply cannot afford consistent staffing. But every church still desires the vibrant, spirit filled worship. Our purpose tonight is clear: to meet the need of the local church by offering information, illustration, and instruction for building a music and arts ministry, even without a musician. Because we believe wholeheartedly a vibrant church requires vibrant worship.
Thank you so much. Tonight, we begin the first of three modules. This module is Making Your Music Ministry Vibrant, Week 1, The Basics. Our vision is to give you simple, practical tools to strengthen your worship experience immediately, helping you to move from surviving Sundays to thriving on Sundays. We are blessed with an excellent team guiding us through tonight's basic foundation. As you have heard, I'm Reverend Dr. Valencia Etner and Reverend Barbara Holt, and we brought you the introduction. Our next section is called Knowing the Sound of Your House, and it is developed by Reverend Angel Howard and Reverend Katrina Wiley. Reverend Katrina Wiley will represent the two of them on this evening. Then we will move to permissions and legal licenses with Reverend Chauncey Duff and Reverend Chris Parham. Following that, you will learn the basics of how to sing with a track from Sister Candy Clifton and Brother Chris Watkins. And then finally, we will talk about how you connect the devices, the technology of how we can keep our services vibrant and with a flow using devices that will allow for that to happen. And that will be Minister Kaylin Johnson and Reverend Chris Parham. So we want you to feel free to submit questions either in the chat or in the Q&A, and we will address as many as possible at the end of our presentation. As we begin, I invite you to open your heart to possibility. Tonight is not about what your church lacks. It's about what God can do with what you already have. We are committed to equipping every congregation for excellence in worship because a vibrant church requires vibrant worship. Let's begin. Reverend Wiley.
Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to share together tonight on the topic of knowing the sound of your house. I'm Reverend Katrina Wiley from the 4th Episcopal District, and joining me is my sister in ministry, Reverend Angel Howard from the 6th Episcopal District, who is currently in revival but has taken the time to collaborate with me so that she can pour into you as well. We both serve as music coordinators of our Episcopal District, and we are willing to work with any pastor, choir, or worship leader to help strengthen the sound of our churches through music ministry. We understand that the sound of your house is not just about what you sing, it's about who you serve and how you invite God's presence to fill the room. Our goal tonight is to help you identify the unique sound of your congregation, to know what works for your people, what stretches them, and how to lead worship that connects every generation to the presence of God. So, what is the sound of your house? The sound of your house is your church's worship personality, how your people respond to God through song, rhythm, and expression. Two churches can sing Blessed Assurance and sound completely different. Why? Because worship reflects the people's story, the culture, and relationship with God. Your sound tells the world who you are and whose you are. So, why does your sound matter? The sound of your house sets the atmosphere for worship. It unites the congregation, prepares the heart for the word, and invites the presence of God. When your sound fits your people, the spirit moves freely. And when it doesn't, the room can feel disconnected. A quiet church might connect deeply with Draw Me Nearer, while a lively church may come alive with every praise. So, knowing your sound helps you serve your congregation more effectively and keeps worship authentic to your content. In the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, our sound carries through theology, history, and heart. It's not just about style, it's about a story. Our sound is theological in motion, proclaiming who God is and what he has done. Songs like Guide Me Over, Thy Great Jehovah, and The Lord Will Make a Way Somehow are sermons set to melody. They remind us that God provides, protects, and delivers. We believe in Methodist order, but we also make room for the freedom of the Holy Spirit. And that balance, structure, and spirit makes CME worship distinct. The sound of your house also depends on your context. See, you have rural churches that often carry rich harmonies, heartfelt devotionals, and a cappella hymn like I Need Thee, Old Ship of Zion. Then your city churches may lean into full bands and choirs and contemporary gospel like Every Praise and You Are Good. Neither is better. Both are beautifully authentic. And problems arise when one tries to imitate the other. A small rural church shouldn't feel pressure to sound like a mega church, and a city church shouldn't overlook its traditional roots. The key is this: don't copy another church's sound, cultivate your own. Your community, your story, your spirit flow makes your sound sacred. You got to know your demographics. Every church family has a mixture. You have your seniors, the adults, young adults, and youth, and each connects differently. A seasoned saint might hold tight to hymns that carry them through hardship, while a young adult connects through gospel that feels familiar to their world. We must know who's in the pew and who's coming through those doors. For example, start with I love the Lord, he heard my cry. The older members will sing it from memory, then flow into Intentional by Travis Green. Younger crowds will respond to that. Both songs preach the same message. God is faithful on purpose. And that's how you bridge the generations and keep your sound alive. Now, your pastor's preaching rhythm, and your congregation's energy, it shaped the sound of worship. A teaching pastor may flow best with smooth, reflective songs, whereas a revival style pastor connects with warfare and high energy praise. So if your pastor preaches with fire, keep that momentum after the sermon and always read the room. Stay gentle if the spirit is resting. Press in if the spirit is rising. And when your music ministry flows with both pastor and people, worship becomes powerful and unified. Now we have to remember to grow your church worship, you have to stretch them, but don't snap them. What am I saying? Introduce one new song at a time. Blend old and new so that every generation feels included. Start with the I need thee every hour, then flow into I need you now by Smokey Norfolk. Both of those carry the same message. They cry for God's help and presence. And that combination reaches the heritage as well as the heart. And this approach honors tradition while inviting freshness and growth. Every CME congregation has their go-to songs. We all know them, the familiar. Order my steps, total praise, every praise. Lord, I'm available to you. These songs represent your church's spiritual identity, your musical fingerprint, and you use them strategically to guide your worship flow from praise to worship to sermon to altar and so forth. Consistency creates comfort, and comfort opens the doors for freedom in worship. So I want to challenge you tonight. When you know the sound of your house, you lead with confidence, unity, and power. Your worship becomes authentic, your people become engaged, and the Holy Spirit moves freely. Every CME church has a spiritual fingerprint. Protect it, nourish it, and refine it. Don't imitate another ministry. Embrace your own. And when you know your people, you can lead your people. And when you know your sound, you can guide them into the presence of God. Thank you for this time.
Thank you so much, Reverend Katrina Wiley and Reverend Angel Howard, for preparing that time of sharing with us about what it means to know your house. Now we're going to look at how, if we're going to move to ways to deal with our vibrant worship digitally, we're going to need to know how we can do that and do it legally. So please welcome Reverend Chauncey Duff and Reverend Chris Parham.
Good evening, everyone. I am Reverend Chauncey Duff, and I am the Second Episcopal District Representative for the Connectional Music and Arts Ministry.
Good evening. I am Reverend Christopher Parham. I represent the Fifth Episcopal District of the Connection of Music and Arts Ministry.
We are honored to present to you tonight in the area of permissions and legal licenses. Now, the last few years, we have had to do a lot of flexing and adapting. And when it comes to, we became overnight producers and overnight cameramen and women, and producing shows on. And now it's there's some things that go along with, if you're going to have a digital footprint on, be the YouTube or Facebook or whatever, there's some responsibilities that you're going to need to do, especially when it comes to music. You're going to need some things to protect yourself from any types of lawsuits or anything like that. People do not have issues suing churches. We're just going to be real about it tonight. They have no issue whatsoever suing a church over their copywritten material. So tonight we're going to kind of do an overview of what you can do to protect yourself when it comes to the music that you use on a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon and when you're broadcasting to the world. Now, a music permissions or legal licenses are legal agreements that give a user permission to use copyrighted music for a specific purpose, like in a film, a podcast, or public venue, or in our settings, in our worship services. This protects you from, they want to be compensated for their work. You want to be compensated for the work that you do. So these artists that are putting this material out, of this music out that you're using on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon or in broadcasting to the world, you want to make sure they want to be sure that they're compensated for the things that they put out there. I'm going to share a few things, and Rem Parham, if you want to add to what I've said,
No, sir. Keep going, brother.
go ahead. I'll share screen here. Um, just a few things as we go along. Music resources that we're going to touch on tonight: Christian Copyright Licensing Incorporated, which is CCLI, Fruition Music Store, and daywin.com. Uh, First and foremost, Christian Copyright Licensing Incorporated. They have various forms of licensing to protect your church from legal issues. Two of the major licenses that I think we can use, and our very capable general secretary, if we miss anything, I know she'll jump in and make sure that we have everything in line and in order, make sure we haven't missed anything. But the first and foremost, the one that jumped out to me was church copyright licensing. This is when you're projecting and printing lyrics for your house. You put them up on the screen and you're broadcasting them to the world. You are protected that you're using somebody else's work to guide your worship, but you're also making sure that they're fairly compensated for you using their work. You want to make sure you log into these websites and make sure you grab a hold on to these licenses. Second license that we want to hold on to is the CCLI streaming licenses. So if you're getting into streaming, you're trying to reach out to a further audience when it comes to again, Facebook, YouTube, and all the others, you're using the CCLI streaming licenses. This is for live streaming or posting worship services. And Dr. Duhart, like I said, if I miss anything, just make sure you just let us know. To move on, uh, they also have a various and wide array of music on their website. It's under their song select section of their website. This is where they have lyric videos, main songs, and you can save it to once you create an account, you can save it to your library for future use. But you want to make sure that you are creating an account and that you have these licenses in place to keep yourself protected.
As before you move on, Brother John, Reverend Duff.
Go ahead.
I know some people may be sitting here asking the question, is all of this necessary? The answer is yes. Again, as Reverend Duff has mentioned, yes, people are now in a place where the church, there used to be a time where it was completely absurd that you would hear someone suing a church. But nowadays, things are completely different. And of course, it not only, and I'll just be honest and safe to say, I love my CME church, but we're not at a place where we can afford any kind of lawsuits. We've spent out enough money in taking care, trying to operate and do ministry. So the last thing that we would need is some type of lawsuit that would take away from our funds, affording us the opportunity to do ministry. So yes, all of this, it may be a lot, but it definitely is in place to protect not only you as the pastor, the worship leader, but the congregation at large, as well as the connectional church.
Right. And even as the years have gone by, when we first jumped into these things, the sentence, we do not own the licenses or the copyrights to this music, that was good in the beginning. That was nice. But nowadays it is not enough. You must have these licenses in place if you're going to put yourself out there online to make sure that you are covered and you are protected. Again, I see it a lot on a lot of our Facebook pages. We do not own the copyrights. That's good. That's a good start, but it's not enough. And
Right.
and you got to go a step further. You must
Right.
go a step further in order to protect yourself. If I can go on, let's see. When it comes to Fruition Music Store, and I've include the links in these slides here, you just do a quick registration. And most times on Fruition, for every song that you use, it's 99 cents. And it's yours to use for however many years or however long you need to use it for. And you just make sure. And I would say, even looking at the quick registration that I took a look at, I would register your church media team, use their email address so that you have this all under your church's information. So you're not trying to get your own self in trouble. These have to, in order to do what you need to do. They have performance tracks. Now, as we were joking earlier with Dr. Duhart about, Apple products versus Android products and PC products and all of these things. For PC users, it's a simple download. For Apple users, God bless you and keep you. You're gonna have to download another piece of software in order for those things to come through for you. So if you take a good quick, and they do have some walkthrough videos as to how to use their products for your broadcasts. A second resource is Daywind. They have accompaniment tracks. You can search through various genres, and they also have it where you can search through assisting in the worship planning, especially with the holidays coming up. You can search even through, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the Advent season. I mean, the Advent Sundays. You can find resources or tracks with or without background vocals. Depending on what kind of worship leader you have, they may do well without background vocals. They may need some background vocals just in case you're missing somebody on a Sunday morning. You got some extra help in the track.
And as we're looking at the assist in worship planning, this helps us to understand that worship planning should not take place the morning of worship. Morning planning should not take place the day before worship. This will also help us to be in a place of where we're making sure that the songs that we select for our worship service are in alignment with what's going on. Of course, we're embarking upon Thanksgiving season. There's no need for us to be singing about the little baby Jesus before we give thanks. So this would assist us and to help us into, like I said, planning our corporate worship experiences.
And that is the final slide I have. And we will take your questions at the end if there's anything that we would have missed. But that is our presentation in terms of permissions and legal licenses.
Thank you both. Thank you both, Reverend Duff and Reverend Parham. We know that there are questions about that, and so we're going to push through so that we can get back to some of those questions. I'm answering some of those I'm anticipating you have in the chat. However, we want to move on to Sister Candy Blue, who is a part of the CME Church, but is a worship leader at a large, predominantly white church. She's going to share with us how tracks can help, along with our band director, Brother Chris Watkins. Candy?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Candy Blue Clifton, and I am a part of the 8th Episcopal District. I'm glad to be able to share with you all tonight with Brother Chris. We just want to give you some steps and some tips on using tracks in your worship service. I do serve at a large congregation where we do use tracks as well as a live band. Um, just some simple steps here. Choosing the proper song for the occasion and for your house, as we spoke about earlier already. You want to consider the theme of the service. Each Sunday may be different. So you want to consider the theme of the service, whether it's healing or Thanksgiving, breakthrough, communion. We have Christmas coming up, whether it's joy, peace. And you know that um, by staying in tune with the visionary of the house, you want to match the song to the pastor's message or the flow of worship or the spiritual atmosphere you want to set for the house that day. You want to make sure the lyrics align with biblical truth and the heart for your congregation. As Reverend Katrina talked about earlier, knowing the sound of your house, knowing the songs that work for your congregation. If you have a younger congregation or a more seasoned congregation, you want to use songs and choose songs that work for your house. Another tip that I would say for using tracks, Selecting the key that is comfortable for the lead vocalist or the congregation. Things that are singable for the congregation. It's nothing worse than music being a distraction in service, whether the key may be too high and nobody can reach it, or the key may be too low and it just does not sound good. And I always want to make sure that I'm making a joyful noise um, unto the Lord. So making sure that the key that you've chosen or the key that the song is in, and sometimes we may not be able to change the key because the songs are in fruition already. So making sure that songs that we pick are in the right key for us. Testing the song in its original key first to make sure that it's not too low or too high. Um, Keep in mind that I try to keep in mind that worship should feel accessible and not strained. Um, Everybody wants to be a part of worship, and making sure that everyone can sing with you and sing along. You don't have to be the best singer, even as the worship leader or praise team leader, or you don't have to be the best singer, but studying will make you comfortable and allow you to um, allow your congregation to sing and be comfortable with you as well. I would say practice with the original recording, listening to the song repeatedly to learn the melody and the phrasing, the timing and the flow of the music. Study how the original artist transitions between verses, choruses, ad libs, paying attention to the builds and the breaks and the dynamics so that you understand the full structure of the song. Again, you don't have to be an amazing singer, you just have to study. Studying the music, studying the inflections of the song, even with ad libs and extra parts of the song, that's their testimony. You have your own testimony, and making sure that you are conveying the story of the song, I would say. After you've listened to the music, you've studied the track, you've studied the original song, I would say then practice with the instrumental track. Once you're confident with the original version, you can switch to the instrumental track or version, practicing and practice says stand on the beat, using the tempo, the cues, um, working on your breathing and your consistency. And if you are the worship leader or the praise team leader and you have a praise team and a choir, it is your job to learn all of the parts, all of the sections, soprano, alto, tenor, so that you can convey what the story of the song is. And you can modify things like ad lib and things like that. That's not super important, but and you repeat it. You just repeat until it becomes muscle memory, so that on the day of, again, it's not something that you can do the morning of. It's not something you could do the day before. You have to study the music because especially if you don't have a band, you're not really able to flow. You stick with the track how the track is playing. So that's why you have to study that so that you can be confident and spirit led and not rushed or mechanical in your service that morning. So those are some of the tips that I had on using tracks. Brother Chris.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I am Christopher Watkins, First Episcopal Rep of the Connection Music Arts Ministry, as well as your uh, band director for the Connectional Church. I'm going to echo everything that Candy said. I do would suggest that as you are trying to learn the tracks, it would not hurt for whoever that person is to work on a lyric sheet so that you can go verbatim how many times the soloist or the chorus is sung, if you're going to use an instrumental or if you're going to use track with vocals. So whomever that person is that is in charge will know how many times. In addition to that, it would benefit you as uh, the director or the chorister to uh, include your pastor or the pastor in charge so that if in fact the Holy Spirit moves in, if in fact there's something happens, they know that the music is going to cut off. And so at that moment in which you have to go into a place of worship and a place of exhortation, that you know that you no longer have the music. So either you're going to sing a cappella, or you're going to go ahead and go into that attitude of worship. So it's best to include those people in charge to know that we're not going to sing it 3 or 4 more times, because the recording doesn't allow that. So I would just say, continue for those who are the choristers or the band leaders to study that music, to understand, to know how it will go. Your rehearsals, they need to go accordingly to what that track is. I have used, you may laugh, but I have used some karaoke instrumentals. They are already licensed. You can use them according to what they are. And in some instances, depending on what device you're using on, you can drop or raise the key. So it's karaoke, but it's actually beneficial, and it's essential to your worship. So I'm going to just say kudos to everything that she said, but I want you to keep those things in mind.
Thank you both very much for that information. There are questions, and we are answering them as swiftly as we can in the Q&A, and we're going to hopefully get back to them. We look to be in good timing. So as we get to the end of the next section, we will come back and answer as many of those questions live as we possibly can. We want to turn this now over to Minister Kalen Johnson. Glad that he's arrived and excited about his new venture, and Reverend Chris Parham, as they talk about the best practices for making sure that music is played. A little bit more than just your phone to the mic. So will you talk, both of you come now and share with us how to best handle our technology related to our tracks and our songs for worship.
Good evening once again. I do greet you as Reverend Christopher Parham. So here, yes, there was a time where it used to be okay to grab your phone, put it up to the microphone, and just let it do what it do. Now we have come from a mighty long way, and therefore there are some things that requires a little there are some things that require just a little bit more of our attention. Number one, I would say that you definitely want to make sure that you have someone who is adequately trained or has a rational understanding of how, because again, just because you know how to plug one device into the other does not necessarily mean that you absolutely know exactly what you are doing. So therefore, I'm going to depend on my brother, Minister Kayla Johnson, who is way more qualified to discuss it than I am. Go ahead, brother.
Good evening to everybody. Sorry, I'm in my car. I just left for rehearsal, but yes, this is not the '80s or the '90s where you can just hook up your phone and you can hook up to a CD player and put the mic to the CD player speaker and wait and hope that the CD don't skip. We've come a mighty long way. So, with that being said, it is imperative that you know which device you are using. All Android phones have the audio jack at the bottom of the phone. If you have a newer iPhone, you would need an adapter to connect a audio jack to. So it's best to know what you are using. Also, I would suggest that you use another device that is not your personal device. I would strongly suggest that you use another device that is strictly for your Sunday morning worship so that you can load the playlist in and have no mishaps, because sometimes things happen and we don't want any mishaps during service. So that's two things I would say. Also, if you do not have if you do not have adequate sound at your church, like i.e. a mixer board or a power amp or speakers, they also sell very powerful Bluetooth speakers. that you can connect your phone to, whether it be by audio cable or via Bluetooth. And they have some that are pretty loud that will fill up a room, or you can play it through whatever streaming device you are using. So it is imperative that when you do connect, that you do not drown out the people who are singing. So if you have a congregation of people that are singing, the music needs to be loud enough where everybody can keep time and sing along, but low enough where everybody can understand what's being sung. Because the whole object is to hear the words so we can feel the words of the song as well as the music, and not just the music alone. So other options, if you do not have an audio system or Bluetooth speaker, you can also you can also, if you have streaming services, you can plug your phone up straight to your streaming device, and it'll play through via Facebook Messenger, via Facebook Live, or YouTube, or whatever you may be using at that time. And that basically, yes, sir.
And I want to just throw this out here as we're throwing these things out. Yes, some of these things, let's just be honest, some of these things do have a small cost associated with them. While he mentioned the Bluetooth speaker, there are a variety of good quality speakers that are not expensive. I do understand that, and I would always encourage everyone to find your local audio store. They have a lot of, you'll be surprised at the amount of information that they have or ways that they can assist. Because a lot of times, if you come in and let them know that, hey, I'm coming from a small, our church, we don't have a lot. This is what we have. As you tell them what you will do, just be honest. Yes, you will run into those who are trying to make a dollar, but you will also run into those who are very making sure that they're not just to make a sale, but also to help you assist you in various ways. I do want to say, as we're cautious as well, for those of us who may be slightly a little more advanced, as we make sure that we have an audiovisual team or someone who's in the booth or that is regulating our sound, we want to be very cautious of that as well, because sometimes what it may sound like over the in person is completely different than what is being heard online. So we therefore want to make sure that we have, like I've gone to churches where they have it set up to where one particular this mic is specifically used so that for the audio visual for what's being live streamed. So we need to be cautious of that as well, because again, all of these adaptive devices, they can interfere. So we definitely want to make sure that we have people who are at least of decent to great quality so that our sound will be more than what it just is.
I would like to piggyback on that and say, for the churches who do have an audio person in the booth, or people's in the audio booth, make sure that you always use headphones when you're in the booth, connected to your live stream. So that way, what how it sounds in the sanctuary may not be how it sounds on the live stream. And we live in a day and age that if your live stream do not sound good, people will pass your live stream by. You can be preaching your heart out and singing your heart out, but if the audio is bad, they will pass it by. And we want to bring our online audience in. So it is imperative that you always step out or have somebody go on the live, whether it be outside or in a different room, so that way they can communicate how the live stream sounds, so you can make in-person adjustments. Thank you.
Thank you both for giving us insight as to how we can make sure our technological aspects of being having vibrant worship and how that connects within our church context, how that can be done well. We do want to open to some questions and answers because I've answered most of them, but there's some we want to say in the general populous because they were very good questions, and that many people may have had the same question. So I'm just going to ask that each of us pulls up our Q&A if you can, and then if you answered the question, you go on and answer it. And even if I did, and you see the answer and you want to expound on that, you certainly may. Our first question was about Suno, and Suno is a platform where you create your own original music. If it's yours, there's no penalty for using it. But if it's someone else's, you need to get permission to use their music. Okay? Reverend Parham, you handled the use of premium YouTube music. Will you deal with the answer to that question?
Yes. And with that, again, the question was simply was just asking the question with the YouTube Premium, does that qualify for your licensure? No, again, what it does, it only allows you the opportunity for you personally to listen to music. That does not cover you on the public platform. So if it allows it the opportunity to again listen to it without commercials. So yes, that is completely separate. You would still be required to have a separate licensure so that you could use those materials.
Absolutely. And let's talk about CCLI. Thank you for that question because I wanted to say that there's more than one, as Reverend Duff and Reverend who were you with? Reverend Parham talked about earlier. There are different licensings on CCLI. There's one for just um, there's one for just the use of the music in your rehearsals, but there's another license for the use of them in streaming. But it is a sliding scale. It's based on the size of your church. So if you are a smaller church, then your licensing is smaller. If your reach is smaller, then your license amount is smaller. And that is one of the good things with CCLI. It does give you that sliding scale. The songs that are on CCLI are under what they call Song Select. Song Select is available to you once you buy a license, but there's only a portion of it that's available. And the videos are not available without the video license. So I don't want us to think that that it's a one hit, but let me tell you, the amount that it is beats a lawsuit, and the amount that it is worth it if you want to keep you don't have a musician and you want to keep your music vibrant. The cost of your licenses would not be are not more than you would are much less than you would pay a musician to drive into your context and to be able to play even and that doesn't always work as well. So please know that CCLI is worth it. Those of you who are doing worship music, CCLI is a great place for Song Select is a great place for worship music. Not so much our African American music, that would be Fruition, okay, where Aaron Hill makes sure he's doing that. And then Daywin has a mixture. I answered the Daywin question by saying this: Daywin costs more. It does. But when you get a Daywin download, you're going to get the original song. You're going to get the song with and without background. So just in case, as Sister Candy was talking about earlier, you need to sing on your own. You don't have a background. Or Brother Chris, one of them was saying that. But it also gives you more than one key. So if you need a low key or a high key, and sometimes they even do a medium key. So they do cost a little more, but they're yours, and you can use them in worship as much as you need to. Okay? Somebody want to take the hymns question? Anybody? All right, we don't want to bog things down. What about old hymns? Do we need a license to play those too? What if we're just singing a cappella? Is a license needed then? Here's the answer for that. Usually, public domain songs do not need a licensing. However, you need to check because some of these estates have recognized that that's what's happening and they have um, given a licensing need for some of the songs of those persons who wrote those songs. Maybe not as far back as the 17 and 1800s, but some of those early 1900 songs that we sing all the time, those families have have begun to make sure that licensing is done for them again. And so we want to make sure that you check that before you decide that it's old enough to just be public domain. So be careful with that.
Dr. Edna, there was some other questions in
Yes,
regards to
please.
Amazon Music and paying a monthly and able to download, just like Reverend Parham said earlier, even if you're using YouTube and you got it where you can play it without commercials and all that's for your
Hmm.
personal use. If you're getting ready to get up and sing those songs on a Sunday morning, you're going to broadcast those things, you are going to need the license. You are going to need protection. Someone else also asked a question in regards to a cappella music. If it's copywritten by an artist, you are going to need protection. Even if you're not singing that song with their track, if they put those words and that music together for you to sing that song a cappella, you still need the protection. These folks are watching their material that they are putting out to the world, and they want to make sure that their material is not being abused. I'm not saying in a way that we are abusing them, is using it for morning worship, but they want to make sure that they're being taken care of as far as what they put out there.
And you have some persons who, as long as you're not selling it, they're fine with you using their material. But there you have others who are adamant about you not using their material. There are some, I feel like they have people on watch because they're very, very adamant about not using their music. Somebody asked about putting your CCLI number on your platform. Could someone steal it? Yes, they can, but you are subject to put them through the same litigation as anybody else. That is the theft of your creative property. Once you buy it, once you license, it's yours license. No one has a right to that. Okay. There was one other question that was really strong. Does anyone have tracks for some standard CME songs like Gloria Patri and All Things Come of Thee? Fruition has All Things Come of Thee. Okay. But here was my answer, team. We are working on providing other standards for churches. Stay tuned and hold us accountable. Okay? Hold us
Dr.
accountable.
Dr. Edna, there was a question that was
Yes.
asked anonymously. Do any of us use worship planning programs to plan out our services? And I think
Um,
Kaylin wanted to answer that question.
Yes, sir. More than one of us may want to answer that, but go on. Yes. We
is
can't hear you.
everybody?
Oh, there you go.
Yep. Worship planning works. It works. It allows you to take everybody who's on the team and drop songs for certain dates. You can schedule rehearsals and you can put the whole Sunday set time by time in worship planning. So it is a great tool. What I would add is don't let that be, don't let it become a hindrance to the flow of service. It is a great tool to have to make sure that you are staying organized with what songs are being sung, but also do not let it be a hindrance to the Holy Spirit in service. We got to sing the songs that's on the planning thing, so we got to sing this because that's what we rehearse. While that is great, don't let it be a hindrance to live service. But worship planning services are a great thing to keep everybody on the team organized. You don't have to send out a group text and worry about if people got it, didn't get it, or anything like that. You can send it one time and it sends it out to everybody who's who has downloaded it and have added it. So it is a great tool to keep everybody in one spot.
Anyone else want to handle that as well? Cause and then let me have a word on it. Anybody else? Okay,
I
go on.
I would say just simply really quickly, it keeps you out of a rut because sometimes you get to the point where you have sung the same songs 3 or 4 years in a row, especially when the holidays roll around. So it's just like this gives you more, it stretches you. Just like, okay, we haven't done that before. We haven't used this before. We haven't sung that before. It stretches you.
We are going to spend some time on worship planning. I think that's module 3, where we're going to spend some in-depth time on what it means to look at the liturgical calendar, to see what's happening in front of you, to not wait until it's on you to then get to that point where you're looking at the songs that you will need. One of the things I do want to let you know so that you can hit the ground running is that while you may choose 3 songs for this week, choose 5, because you don't want there to be dead silence. Once you start a flow of worship, you want there to be worship. That music should be consistently flowing. So if you need 3 songs for worship, there's a hymn that you've uploaded and 2 gospels that the praise team or the choir is going to sing. Have 2 instrumentals that are going on underneath prayer, those that are going on near the end of the worship experience, so that there is a consistency to your worship. But again, that's next time. We're going to talk about that in depthly, but we just want to be sure that you know, don't get stuck in the rut of, well, we need 2 songs, we're gonna spend $3 this week. No, realize that with fruition, a 5, you can have 5 on it on every on every service, and it'll be fine. Yeah. Yes, Brother Kaylin.
I would, I would like to add one more church friendly app. It is called XME Loops, and these have whole songs with backing tracks to them. So this has it does have your most known hymns, and it also will have your more up to date songs on it as well.
Please
It
put that
is
in the
a
chat.
Yes, I will. It is a subscription base, so you pay it monthly, but you can make your own playlist. And this one, you are able to loop certain sections that you would like to repeat, and you can change the key and the tempo.
It's good.
I have used it when it was just me and a praise and worship leader. I was playing organ. I took the organ out of the track, and then I had a full band and background singers. It does have hymns. It has contemporary songs as well. I will drop it in the chat. It is a monthly based subscription, but you can create your playlist on there and play it straight through.
Very good. We'll spend some more time with those platforms and doing some demoing of that as we move forward. Yes, Brother Watkins.
I would like to add, and I know we are talking about the digital component of churches utilizing tracks and things, but let's not forget, depending on your local church or where you are in the cities and rural areas, you may have some other instrumentalists that are willing to work with you if you have digital instruments to lay some of those songs that you may need, to where all you would have to do is find someone that is equipped enough. I know I've been to a church here in Little Rock where, for the most part, from beginning to end, they had it laid out on the piano. All they had to do was play. So those are the things that we're talking about, tracks, but from a digital perspective, somebody coming and laying your music, you could have a musician or instrumentalist come in, and they will do it for minimal charge to just lay those tracks for you, or lay those songs for you on your piano or your keyboard or whatever it is you may have.
That's good. I know that I pastored a church in Texas. I'm the 8th Episcopal District rep, by the way, and that was what happened every Sunday. And I'm a musician, but that happened every single Sunday, and so I was very grateful for that. That is part of Module 2, though. We'll get back to that. So we just wanted to bring you basics tonight. We did not want to overwhelm you with too much information, but we did want to make sure that we were answering your question. If your service is not streamed normally, then you don't worry about the licensing or the legal risk. However, for anniversary, for friends and family day, for those days where people are coming in and somebody sets up their camera for the day or their phone for the day, be careful. Be careful, because Facebook particularly flags very swiftly. Okay? All right. As we said, if you are downloading musical tracks through any application and it is not like a Suno where it's yours, if you didn't write it, then it's best to have protection in place. Go to CCLI and get that small little license and protect yourself, because it's not worth not doing so. All right? We are almost at the end of our time on tonight, and we wanted to make sure that we thank each of our participants, each of the persons who are connected to Connection of Music and Arts Ministry. We want to thank, since he's right here, is Reverend Chris Parham, who is the 5th Episcopal District Representative. Reverend Katrina Wiley, who is the 4th Episcopal District Representative, Reverend Chauncey Duff, who is the 2nd Episcopal District Representative, Reverend Barbara Holt, who is our interim 3rd Episcopal District Representative, Brother Chris Watkins, who is our 1st Episcopal District Representative. We have representatives who are not here tonight, but have worked with us. Reverend Angel Howard is the 6th Episcopal District Representative. Reverend Lisa Clayton is the 7th Episcopal District Representative. We are awaiting our new addition from the 9th Episcopal District, and there are those who work with us in 10 and 11, and we are grateful for the bishops who allow us to work with them. Did I forget any Episcopal District? 5th. Oh, I said that. That's you, Chris Parham. I just didn't say 5th Episcopal District. All right.
Dr.
So,
Edna,
yes.
we've got several, the same question asking when are the next module dates and how do they get that information?
The next module dates, stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. They're coming out. We need to obviously align with the calendar of the church. We have a lot of different seminars and events that come on each week. We want to make sure that we align with that. And you didn't get a response to your question. I thought I did, Reverend Burton. Someone go to the chat and let's make sure I didn't leave his question out. I thought I was answering it as you were writing, as you were sending it.
If it's the one about the Facebook, you did answer it.
No, that's not what it was. It
No, that's the
was,
last one I saw that he.
you don't print lyrics, but you use the music when streaming. So you do need to do that. Okay. Brother Pearman, we got your message. They will call you. Okay. We want to thank General Secretary Falk for his presence on tonight. We are grateful for him because he opened the Lay Institute to us to share with them, and that is what was the catalyst for this evening. As many were talking to us about what they were in need of, we knew then we had to do something that was going to allow for people to ask questions and to get information about what they can do. Facebook, he says, sometimes scans your broadcast to verify if the music is acceptable. They come back and say, okay to use. Should we still be concerned even if Facebook approved the usage? Absolutely. Because I've known them to be okay one time and not okay the next time. And depending on the artist, Mr. Smallwood is very, 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 very funny about his music. So be very, very careful with some artists. Okay? We are almost at 8 o'clock, and so let me give you. Um, you can watch the digital seminar on the CME YouTube channel, and we're grateful for that. Will you all join me in thanking Dr. Teresa Duhart for her availability tonight and for working with us as we wanted to bring you this. So as we come to the end of our Module 1, the basics, I want to thank each of you for your time, your engagement, and your openness tonight. What we shared was not only information, it was inspiration and an investment in the worship life of your church and in the sound of your house. Tonight we laid a foundation. You now have tools to begin strengthening worship, even when you don't have a musician in the building. And I pray you leave knowing that God can anoint a track just as powerfully as God can anoint a keyboard. God can use willing vessels just as effectively as trained ones. And God can breathe on technology just as surely as God breathes on talent. Remember this, a vibrant church requires vibrant worship. So if we're going to be a part of the strategic plan that we have vibrant churches, it requires vibrant worship. We invite you to stay tuned to Module 2, where we will go deeper, get more hands-on, and build on what you learned tonight. Thank you to all of our facilitators, to our CMAM leadership, to our chair, Bishop Teresa Snorton, and to each of you for your commitment to helping the church sing, worship, and thrive. We will share a list of fruition music songs, which you may purchase at a very nominal fee to build music for this time of Thanksgiving and Advent. That list will be available to you this weekend on the Weekend Digest of the CME Church. We thank God for you. Thank God for your presence. We pray that you have been stretched and that your creative juices are moving so that you can begin to create more vibrant worship so that you become a more vibrant church. May God bless and keep you is our prayer.